Tokyo, Japan. A notable surge in early voting ahead of Japan's 2025 House of Councilors election has drawn the attention of political analysts and the public alike. According to data released by the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, over 9.88 million voters cast their ballots during the first 10 days of early voting, amounting to 9.48% of all eligible voters. This significant turnout rate represents both a growing political awareness and an evolving culture of voter participation in Japan. This election, seen as a bellwether for the nation's political direction amid social and economic challenges, appears to be engaging voters at an unprecedented pace. From urban centers like Tokyo and Osaka to rural towns in Hokkaido and Kyushu, early voting stations have reported steady attendance, especially among older citizens, working professionals, and first-time voters. A changing culture of voting. Early voting was first introduced in Japan in 2003 as a means to make elections more accessible, especially for those unable to vote on election day due to work, health, or travel reasons. Initially slow to gain traction, early voting has now become a reliable barometer of public interest and political mobilization. The figure of 9.88 million early votes within just 10 days underscores a growing reliance on early voting mechanisms. It also reflects a political landscape where citizens are increasingly motivated to make their voices heard well before the official polling day. Compared to the last House of Councilors election in 2022, early voting numbers this year have shown a clear uptick, highlighting that more voters are engaging with political issues sooner and with greater urgency. The early voter percentage in the same period during the previous election was around 8.3%, marking this year's 9.48% as a noteworthy increase. What's driving the early rush to the polls? Several factors appear to be contributing to the spike in early voter turnout. 1. Economic anxiety. With Japan still grappling with inflation, supply chain issues, and a widening wealth gap, many voters are using this election to signal their discontent or support for economic policies proposed by competing parties. 2. Pension and healthcare concerns. An aging population has placed immense pressure on the country's pension and healthcare systems. These issues are front and center in campaign debates, mobilizing older voters who want assurance of a stable post-retirement future. 3. Youth engagement. Encouraged by social media campaigns, high-profile endorsements, and political education initiatives, more young people are turning out early to vote. Though their turnout rates still lag behind older demographics, youth participation has become more visible, especially in urban districts. 4. Convenience and accessibility. Expanded hours, better signage, and increased early voting locations have made it easier than ever to vote early. The digital mapping of polling sites has also helped citizens find their nearest early voting station with minimal effort. 5. Weather forecasts. Interestingly, long-term weather predictions indicating potential rainstorms on election day have also nudged people to vote early, especially in flood-prone areas. The stakes of the 2025 election. This year's House of Councilors election comes at a pivotal moment for Japan. With both domestic and international pressures shaping the nation's policy future, voters are carefully weighing their choices. Key issues include constitutional revision debates, particularly Article 9 and the self-defense forces. Energy policy, especially the reopening of nuclear plants versus renewable energy development. Immigration reform, as Japan faces an aging population and severe labor shortages. Education funding and digital transformation, which are critical to maintaining competitiveness in the global economy. The ruling coalition, led by the Liberal Democratic Party (LDP), seeks to maintain its majority, while opposition parties such as the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan (CDP), Japan Innovation Party (Isshin no Kai), and the Japanese Communist Party (JCP) are aiming to make significant gains by capitalizing on dissatisfaction with the government's handling of inflation and social services. Urban versus rural turnout trends. Data from prefectural election commissions reveal that Tokyo, Kanagawa, Osaka, and Aichi are among the prefectures with the highest numbers of early voters. These urban centers tend to be more politically active and logistically equipped to handle large numbers of early voters. In contrast, rural areas like Shimane, Tottori, and Kochi also saw notable early voting percentages, thanks to proactive community campaigns and mobile voting vans that brought ballots directly to remote villages. Voices from the voters. Satomi Ueda, a 67-year-old retiree in Yokohama, shared her thoughts after casting her vote early. With everything happening, the cost of living going up, hospitals getting crowded, I didn't want to wait. I want to make sure my vote counts, even if I get sick on election day. Haruto Nakamura, a 23-year-old university student voting for the first time, expressed his motivation. I follow politics on TikTok and YouTube now. Politicians are finally speaking our language. I voted early because I have part-time work on election day. It feels good to be involved. Challenges and concerns. Despite the enthusiasm, some election officials have expressed concerns about voter fatigue and possible confusion regarding candidate platforms. The abundance of campaign material, both physical and digital, has created information overload for some citizens. Moreover, the rise in early voting has led to calls for better security measures and transparency. Some political analysts argue that the early publication of voting trends might influence undecided voters or cause strategic voting, thus affecting election fairness. Looking ahead. With more than a week still remaining before Election Day, the final early voting tally is expected to exceed 15 million, which would represent a record-breaking figure for the House of Councillors elections. This surge in early voting might also influence how political campaigns are structured in future elections. Parties may be forced to front-load their campaigns, introducing major policy platforms earlier and mobilizing resources in the first few days after election announcements. Election experts believe that this change could lead to a new political rhythm in Japan, where the first 10 days after the election announcement become just as critical as the final few days before the ballot. Conclusion. The early voting surge in Japan's 2025 House of Councillors election is more than just a statistical milestone, it's a reflection of a maturing democracy. With over 9.88 million people already having cast their votes, the electorate is clearly signaling its desire to participate, engage, and shape the country's future in a proactive way. As the nation awaits the final results, one thing is certain: Japanese voters are no longer waiting until the last minute to make their voices heard.